The name is Dr. Chike Nwangwu from NOIPolls. We're really excited to be part of this project, and because the best way for us to look at this is the fact that we acknowledge that there is a very significant problem we have in this country with regards to violence. I know it's called gender-based violence, but I try as much as possible to just call it for what it is. It is violence. And like the last speaker said, while majority of the cases are usually against women, it is not everybody experiences some form of gender-based violence. But I'll focus a bit on what we are comfortable with so that we can have very fruitful deliberations today. And the first thing that I wanted to say is introduce NOIPolls a little bit more so that you can understand where the points that I'm going to make are coming from. NOIPolls is an opinion polling and research organization founded by Enga. That's where the NOI comes from. And basically what we try to do is to be able to put numbers beside what Nigerians think. A lot of times you hear Nigerians want, Nigerians need, Nigerians, and nobody really is asking, are this truly what Nigerians want? And I'll say this from my own experience being in this organization for a while, is that every time we do polls, I'm always shocked at the results that we get, because I sit where I am thinking I know what Nigerians want, but the numbers really throw you off your feet. And to say with, let me also just kind of give us a little bit of the problem that faces us in terms of numbers with regards to gender-based violence. We did a poll sometime in 2019 on rape in Nigeria, incidents of rape in Nigeria. And our findings show that 1 in every 3 women have experienced some form of sexual assault before they turn 25 years in Nigeria. If we don't understand the magnitude of that problem, I'll repeat it again. 1 in every 3 women in Nigeria have experienced some form of sexual assault before they turn 25. That's the society that we currently live in, and something has to be done. Even more worrying with this number is that out of that 1 in 3, only 33% reported the incident. And out of that 33% that reported the incidents, only 50% saw some action following their reporting the incidents. This lets us know that we have a mountain to climb. But it's good that we're having this kind of avenues where we're discussing with everybody that is involved and trying to put something to try and give people hope that this is not going to be a continuing trend. Some of the reasons that people give for why they think gender-based violence is an issue, top on the list was poverty. Personally, I think that's sweeping everything under one carpet. It goes beyond that. A lot of other things that people also said were anger management, but one thing that stood out for me is that people actually pointed out provocation as a cause of gender-based violence. And this kind of points back to what the last speaker said about victim blaming, because you find out people always asking why did the victim do X, Y, Z? And I think that kind of blurs the line in our conversations, and it should be a very clear conversation. Gender-based violence is wrong, irrespective of whatever the cause is. There can't be any muddled line, it has to be black and white. You should not physically assault or the cause. I was going to get to that, but there should be no reason why someone should live in fear in their own house. And of course, the main other finding, which is in the public space, is that most victims of gender-based violence suffer that violence from an intimate partner or a very close person. So we're not talking about strangers causing issues, we're talking about people that are familiar with the victims. So that said, I'm just going to point out some things that people kind of recommended that they think can help us reduce gender-based violence. Top on the list was stiff and swift repercussions for perpetrators. And I think that kind of goes, I mean, if you followed any of the cases, I'm sure we're going to deliberate some of them, followed any of the cases of gender-based violence or even violence against women, you find out that the action, let me use the word punishment, doesn't come as swiftly as the event. which makes it a bit tiring for the victims to be able to pursue, because you get to relive the experience for a long time while you're waiting for something to happen. So you find situations where most victims just decide to move on rather than keep on reliving the experience, and that is only going to encourage and make these things continue. The second thing is to convince victims in one way or the other that there will be restitutions if they're able to report their cases. You find, I mean, I don't want to waste so much time, but you find out a lot of times, people's first response to gender-based violence is to cover it up, maybe for shame or whatever it is. But I think that we should be able to create an avenue where victims are able to speak out because they believe that there will be some form of restitution. Then finally, a lot of people said getting the men involved. And I think that's why this session today really spoke and stood out to me. I can't say this enough, but people have said it, so let me just repeat. We can't move the needle on gender-based violence if we're not also incorporating men, and more importantly, boys, because these boys today will become men tomorrow, and what they do tomorrow is based on what they learn and see today. So it's very critical that we're having this program today where we're including men and boys in trying to address the issue around gender-based violence. I'll end here by saying that NOIPolls is very in line with MenENGAGE and what MenENGAGE is trying to achieve. And this goes beyond gender-based violence and just goes in making the society a better place. We can't be segregating different genders and expect to move forward as a society. Everybody has a role to play, and everybody should be carried along. So again, we're delighted and happy to be part of this program, and we'll put as much effort as we can to make sure that we all have very fruitful deliberations today. Thank you.